Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating breakdown of modern dating and attraction, and it's all pulled directly from the insightful guide, The Woman of Your Dreams. Now, look, if you're tuning in expecting some sleazy manual written by infallible playboys who've never faced a single moment of self-doubt in their lives, well, you're in the wrong place. We're going to look at attraction through a completely different lens today. This explainer is built on the real-world experiences of average guys. Guys who learned the art of attraction not through some inherent magical swagger, but through trial, error, and most importantly, overcoming their own deep-seated insecurities. I mean, just look at this quote. The authors admit right out of the gate that they, too, have been absolutely paralyzed by fear. They've stood there frozen and watched someone else swoop in just because they hesitated. And what really sets their approach apart is that this isn't about teaching you how to pick up hundreds of random people just to inflate your ego. In fact, they argue that facing hundreds of rejections a month just to get a couple of wins is literally a terrible strategy for your self-esteem. Instead, this explainer is going to show you how to objectively apply structured, proven strategies to succeed with the one person you actually truly care about, the one who really makes your heart race. So here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the true enemy, which is fear. Number 2, breaking seduction myths. Number 3, the power of being different. Number 4, the importance of good humor. And number 5, they have the final decision. Let's get into it. All right, kicking things off with section 1, the true enemy, fear. So this is the massive internal roadblock that paralyzes most men from ever taking action. When we're trying to win someone over, we so often mistakenly treat the woman as the adversary, right? We strategize as if we need to somehow outsmart her in a game of chess. But the authors make a really crucial distinction here. The woman is not the enemy. The woman is the goal. Your actual enemy, it's your own fear. It's that nagging fear of rejection, the fear of looking totally ridiculous, or the fear of ruining a perfectly comfortable, safe friendship. And here's a really comforting truth pulled straight from the text. Women feel this exact same fear too. Often a rejection isn't actually a hard no to you personally. It's just a defensive reaction triggered by their own fear of pressure. So what actually happens when we let that fear win and just sit around waiting for the perfect moment? Well, the authors share this brilliant little anecdote about a girl named Magdalena. One of the authors was sitting next to her at a party, doing absolutely everything right. He dressed well, he'd been working out, he smelled great, and he had her engaged in this really nice, polite conversation. But he was waiting for the absolute perfect zero-risk moment to make a move. Then this guy named Gerardo sits down across from them. Now, Gerardo isn't particularly handsome or anything, but he just looks right at Magdalena and casually says, "Do you have your planner? When you get home, write down for next Saturday. Go out with Gerardo." Boom. She smiled, completely charmed by the confidence, and they ended up dating. The author lost out simply because he waited. Direct action, my friends, will always beat passive waiting. Moving right along to section 2, breaking seduction myths. Society feeds us some genuinely terrible advice about where to meet people. Let's take the nightclub, for instance. The myth tells us it's the absolute best place because of the sheer volume of women. But the reality? It is a hostile environment. You literally have to scream over the pounding music just to be heard. Plus, a woman in a club is constantly being bombarded by guys using the exact same predictable, tired pickup lines. This forces her to become highly defensive and hyper-selective just to survive the night. You aren't competing on a level playing field in there. You're just another random voice shouting in the dark. The authors strongly argue you are so much better off interacting in an environment where you can actually, showcase your real personality. And then there's the internet dating myth. We all think it's this ultimate modern tool for easy wins. But the text argues that it actually breeds a very dangerous false confidence. Hiding behind a glowing screen or a clever username strips away the real-world courage that's absolutely necessary for genuine attraction. I mean, it's super easy to be a smooth talker from your keyboard, right? But that digital bravado completely evaporates the second you meet face-to-face in the real world. Real attraction requires real-world presence, period. And finally, the biggest myth of the whole shebang, that you must be a wealthy movie star to win the girl. The reality, which the authors brilliantly call packaging and projects, is wonderfully democratic. You do not need to look like Brad Pitt, you just need impeccable basic hygiene, good grooming, and clean clothes. That's the packaging. And you definitely don't need to be a millionaire. The authors emphasize that having exciting life projects like studying a new language, starting a small business, or writing a script replaces the need for massive wealth. Ambition and passion completely level the playing field. It's a real game changer.
Okay, on to section 3, the power of being different.
The absolute, non-negotiable necessity here is originality. If you do what every other guy does, you just blend into the wallpaper. The authors illustrate this with a fantastic story. So, the author meets a girl and playfully starts calling her Trixie while calling himself Speed Racer, literally making engine noises while driving his incredibly average, everyday car. He didn't take her to a fancy, standard, predictable dinner date. Nope. He took her to look at the river, and then he intentionally played a cassette tape of an incredibly cheesy daytime soap opera theme song. I mean, no way, right? But it was so bizarre, so completely original and unpretentious that it completely disarmed her. By acting completely different from all the predictable guys who try way too hard to be cool, he instantly captured her attention and won her over. Next up is Section 4, the importance of good humor. Now, there is a massive distinction between having a sense of humor and having what they call good humor. Having a sense of humor just means you can passively appreciate a joke when someone tells one. But good humor, that is active. It is an optimistic, powerful capacity to generate smiles and actively uplift the people around you. The authors cite one of their fathers, a guy they called Don Vito, as the perfect example of this. He wasn't a stand-up comedian by any stretch, but he woke up singing, he tackled his daily problems with a positive attitude, and he just made people feel good simply by being around him. That active, positive energy is absolutely magnetic. But as with anything, there are strict rules to using humor as a tool of attraction. First and foremost, never mock physical flaws. Your humor should build people up, not tear them down. Keep it subtle and keep it classy. Don't act like a clown performing for the whole room. You want to keep those inside jokes between you and her to build that one-on-one intimacy. And most importantly, if a joke is directed at you, accept it gracefully. Showing that you don't take yourself too seriously is a massive, massive display of confidence. Which brings us to our final section, number 5. They have the final decision. So, who really decides to take the first step? Now, this is probably going to challenge the traditional male ego a bit. As guys, we love to think we do the conquering, don't we? We think our super clever pickup line or our perfectly timed move is what sealed the deal. But the authors argue that women actually set the trap and is simply let the man think he's the one who caught them. Take the story of the train to Mendoza. A guy named Herman sits next to this beautiful woman on a long train ride. To impress her, he starts singing romantic songs. When she casually mentions she likes Portuguese music, he literally makes up fake Portuguese words and sings them to her. I mean, talk about bold. They end up sharing a romantic moment, and Herman feels like the ultimate suave seducer. But the reality? She had already noticed him and made her decision on the train platform before they even boarded the train. Once the woman makes that internal decision that she's interested, your specific, clumsy tactics matter far less. She's really just giving you the runway to land the plane. So, the million-dollar question: how do you prompt that internal decision? The authors recommend a highly counterintuitive protocol called the SPY strategy. Here's exactly how it works. Step 1, choose a smart, loyal female friend who knows your target. Step 2, have her casually drop a hint to the target that you think she's great. And step 3, actually this is the most crucial part, you retreat. You completely ignore the target for an entire week. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth does ignoring someone work? Well, curiosity is the ultimate catalyst for attraction. By having a friend drop the hint, you plant the seed. But by retreating immediately after, you don't act like the desperate guy trying to pounce on her. Instead, you force the target to actively wonder about you. She's going to think, wait a minute, I heard he liked me, so why isn't he talking to me? That curiosity occupies her mind. You're basically living rent-free in her head, making her pay attention to you, and ultimately setting the trap for you to walk right into later. As we wrap up this explainer, we really have to highlight the author's strictest piece of advice: the monkey, even dressed in silk, remains a monkey. Don't simulate what you are not. Exploit your true talents. You can use the SPY strategy, you can be wild and original, and you can project all the confidence in the world. But if you pretend to be wealthy when you aren't, or you simulate being this rugged action star when you're actually a quiet intellectual, the facade is eventually going to crack. True originality and a positive attitude will absolutely always trump a fake persona, every single time. Which leaves us with one final provocative question for you to chew on. Are you ready to stop fighting the woman and start conquering your own fear? Remember, she is not the enemy. The battlefield is entirely in your own mind. By dropping those societal myths, bringing your authentic, positive humor to the table, and taking bold, original action, you can completely rethink your entire approach to attraction. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer today, and I really hope this gives you a whole new toolkit to work with out there.